Hello, welcome to another edition of the Bodybuilding Legends Show. I'm your host, John Hansen, and we are broadcasting live from the Powerhouse Gym in downtown Tampa, Florida. On this edition of the Bodybuilding Legends Show, we have part two of our interview with the legendary Vince Taylor. Vince Taylor, of course, one of the best bodybuilders competing in the 1980s and the 1990s. He was the winner of the NPC Nationals in 1988, and Vince went on to win the Arnold Classic in 1992. And he placed very high in the Mr. Olympia, third place in 1989 and 1991. In part two of our interview with Vince Taylor, Vince talks about competing against some of the new guys coming up in the 1990s like Flex Wheeler and Kevin Levrone. Vince also talks about competing in the Mr. Olympia as he neared age 50, and also competing in the Masters Mr. Olympia, which he won, I believe, 6 times. So Vince has got some great stories to tell. So we're going to have another fascinating interview with the legendary Vince Taylor. Let's hear from our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll have part two of our interview with Vince Taylor on the Bodybuilding Legends Show. We'll be right back.
But with Lee Haney, it was just association, and every big moment, I would be right there. It was something crazy about that. 89, the first person to give him them congratulations was me. I had the prayer hug on him on stage.
Yeah.
Okay, that major move. 91, when he got that milestone, I was the first one there again.
Yeah.
So I'm always there, and that was something I just treasured. And knowing him, we're good friends. I just had this thing about, this is quality. That's how you want to present yourself as Mr. Olympia, as a person, and he told me as well. I would call him from time to time, and he broke it down to me as well, kind of like John. He said, these are the rules of the game, Vince. He said, you got to remember that you're going to be watched on and off stage. So you need to be professional on stage as well as professional off stage. You don't want, in the Mr. Olympia group that you're in, top 3, you said you hold a certain light upon you that you don't want to be known as the playboy, running around here chasing women. That doesn't look good for you on stage. They don't want that. They want this wholesome look. So conduct yourself. And he kept telling me that over and over. He said, you don't want to do that. Be you, be conducted, be straight. And it was just guidance, and he was the empathy of what he said. That was him. So I wanted to follow that image, follow that look. Never went wrong. Just love the guy so much.
Yeah.
Only times when you have love and hate is with Lee. As others, I would hear, if you talk to me about a bodybuilder, Lee Haney, I'm going to tell you, boom, 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 boom. I saw interviews about Lee, and he's talking about bodybuilders. Competing with some of these great guys, these young lions like Sean Ray and this guy and this guy and this guy. What about me, Lee? What about me? Never mentioned my name. I was like, and so many times in interviews, that's when I started noticing it. Not only Lee, but nobody. My name was, I'm like, so that was the kind of things that made you go like, okay, I love the guy, but you could at least throw me a bone. Okay, throw me a bone. I won your nationals. I ran second to you or third to you twice.
Yeah.
I'm not lunch meat, but I don't know. That was just one of those things, Jake. One of those things. But Lee, no, I can't take nothing away from Lee. In fact, he texted me just the other day, follow me what I'm still doing,
Hmm.
and son's career in track and everything. And
Hmm.
God is good, and he's always been there. We shared some really good moments flying back from I think it was the Arnold Classic or one event, and religious moments because he's very religious,
Yeah.
and we were talking about scriptures of the Bible. And he wrote me a letter and indicating some chapters or some scriptures I should read.
Hmm.
Still got it today,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we talk about that sometime. But he's just that type of person.
Yeah. He
I
is.
just have a lot of love for Lee Haney.
Yeah. Going back to that '91 Olympia, Vince, let's talk also about Dorian Yates because Dorian, that was his first Olympia. He came in sort of out of nowhere and took second place. He was the next big thing coming up. What did you think about him competing against him?
Well, we had to learn Dorian from the hype first.
Yeah.
Because my God, he was getting every cheerleader from the IFBB you can possibly think of. Wayne DeMillia, you thought that was his second son. We're at the event in Italy, and me, Lee, Albert Beckles, some kind of champions night. We went over there as exhibitions.
Okay.
Group of us, and the Italians were over there dieting and training. They were selling it as the Battle of the Champions or something. So we went over there and got our butts kicked, pretty much. Like, what are we doing over here? We coming over here fat and happy. These guys are in shape, talking about competition. So I recall sitting on the stairwell, myself, Linda Murray, Lee Haney, me, my wife Randy now, and we were talking. Wayne, he came walking by. So we all sit on the stair. You got to see this moment in a hotel room, old type of hotel. We, Mr. Olympia, Miss Olympia. We sit on the stairwell talking, right? And somebody had stole Linda's money as soon as we got there. Broke in her room and stole her money. So we're later, about a couple hours later, we're talking, and Wayne comes up and he's sitting there. And he's talking about, yeah, Lee, there's this guy named Dorian. And he can tell you when he's going to be ready. He can predict to you the time and day he's going to be in top shape. He was just harping and harping and harping. Lee was getting a little aggravated. I could see it.
Yeah.
And so it says, one thing, here you are, the judge and everything else. You hyping this guy like he's coming to get me. And all Lee told him was, I'll never forget it. He said, well, I'll tell you what. You tell him to bring his Twinkies. It's going to be a long day. Man, I've used that line forever. Okay? You better bring your Twinkies because it's going to be a long day. So when he said that, but Wayne was just, telling you, Wayne DeMillia was going on talking about Dorian's hairdo, his everything he did and how well he does it. He'll be at the show and he's the next threat and going on, and he finally left. Well, then 91 show, I'll tell you exactly what happened. We're sitting up there in Orlando.
Yeah.
And two magical things happened. Everybody was waiting for Lee. Okay. I'm backstage. I talked to Lee earlier, and everybody's backstage warming up. There were some big doors behind the warm-up room, and as we walked out, those doors were closed. Joe Weider was standing in the back. He had came in. He was standing in the back. Dorian was to the far left, and Sean was behind Dorian to the far right of him. I can see it right now behind me. And Dorian was being looked at. He was being oiled down, and by Joe. Okay. Hey, look at that. Okay. And I'm standing there, and the guy says, "If you win tonight, I'll give you extra 50,000."
Wow.
I looked at him. I was like, "Damn."
Extra 50,000.
Extra 50,000. That's what he told Dorian. I'm standing right there.
Yeah.
I'm standing right there. I'm looking at him like, okay. So, and the heat is on because everybody's talking about him dethroning Lee.
Yeah.
So the hype is on, the heat is on. 5 minutes later or so, Lee finally comes in. So Lee comes in. He's standing in front of me, and I said, "Man, Lee, they got the daggers out, man." And Lee turned around, he had his jacket. I can see it right now, NPC jacket on, and swole up in it too. So he's standing with his back to me. He looks over his shoulder, and I said, "Lee, man, they got daggers out, man. I just heard some crazy shit back here like that." Man, don't worry about it, Vince. Don't worry about it. He took that jacket off like that, dropped that jacket down. Boom, I'm ready. Because everybody was watching.
Yeah.
Everybody was watching. When he dropped that jacket, that back jumped out, chiseled, so detailed. Sean Ray's face hit the ground because Sean thought he's going to do well that night. Dorian looked up, and then he looked right down real fast. I looked at both of them and just started laughing. I said, "Yeah, baby. Yeah, let's go do this," like that, But and Lee he was ready.
Yeah, yeah.
The intensity backstage was more than it was in '89
Uh-huh.
in Remini because this was a much bigger stake
Yeah.
for Lee. and the heat was on, man, because these people were pushing Dorian like nuts. Nuts. So when they came out and that size he brought with, that took him out of the grab of most of us because we weren't that big.
Right.
They were looking for big now to match Haney. So if you're going to be big and you can match up with Haney, start looking for third, fourth, and fifth.
Yeah.
That's how I took it. Even though I heard, Sean talking about winning and some of these guys talking about winning. And I'm like, are you in the same planet as I am? People used to ask me, you going to win tonight, Vince? Nah, man, no way in the world I'm going to win tonight.
Right.
Why would you take that attitude? Look who's competing. I'm not stupid. Okay, I don't care how many protein shakes I drink and reps I do. I'm not going to beat no Lee Haney.
Right.
Man, beat this year and or next year.
Yeah.
You know? So I never went to a show going to gun anybody down. I kind of looked at everything and said, do it tactfully.
Mm-hmm.
The guys that you can beat, the ones you've already beaten, stay ahead of those guys by beating them in each round.
Yeah.
Round 1, if you can match with them muscularity. Round 2, can you do something there? Posing. Muscularity, symmetry, and balance. Okay, he's more muscular. Maybe I got a little better symmetry. So that's 1 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now, posing, you can't touch me. I'm going to beat you. That was my strategy.
Right.
So I'm going to make sure I nail posing and just sweep you up. And then when I would do that and then wouldn't win, it'd be like, I guess posing didn't count for much.
Yeah.
They actually judge.
What was Lee Haney's attitude backstage at the '91 Olympia, Vince? Because he was going for his 8th win. He was going to set the record, and you had Dorian in there. So was he nervous at all, or was he really, really confident?
Once again, we didn't see Lee until almost 5 minutes before he went on stage.
Okay.
And when he came in, and the first thing I said to him, man, they got the daggers out of here, man. How you feeling? Don't worry about it, Vince. Drop that shirt, bam, and that was it. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
He didn't have to say much. And he went on stage, and that was all he had. He didn't say much at all.
Right.
Again, he's only there for like 5 minutes.
Now, how did you feel taking third behind Dorian?
I didn't mind because I knew that I saw, again, analytically speaking, I knew what this game was about. I knew how they were doing it. I thought that if they would do what I just said, judge each round according to this, okay, Dorian is bigger, a little bit more muscle, so he probably win the muscularity round over me. Symmetry and balance, I think I beat you in that round.
Mm-hmm.
And posing, you ain't got a chance because you pose like you're in a phone booth. So, technically I can get you, technically. But that hype going on, nah. I was looking at more of Labrada and Sean's, trying to see the conditions they were going to be in. Keeping my targets on the people that I've already knew there's going to be some problems for me. Any day, off or on, we can change up who beat who.
Right.
That's the way I felt it.
Right.
But Lee, different category. Dorian, he's in that category now. So.
Yeah. And then after that, I'm looking at your record here. It looks like you won the Grand Prix in Denmark, England, Finland, Italy, Spain, and Switzerland. So you cleaned up out there.
I cleaned it up. Let me tell you, I cleaned it up because when you looked at the attitude was right. One is that when you come off a top 3 in Olympia, you beat a lot of guys. The best of these guys are going to come on tour. If they couldn't beat you this night, why should they beat you any other night?
Right.
So I wanted to stay sharp, stay focused, and hit these shows and learn how to prepare for every show. So I stayed to a student of my game, how to keep my peak condition, what to eat, what not to eat, and learn these things. And I knocked those shows down with perfect scores.
Yeah.
Perfect scores. And Wayne was like, nobody's done that before, Vince. Then they had this little bonus. Well, Joe said that the person who wins the most on the tour, he would give him some extra money, and that must be me. Yeah, I'm winning this stuff. Do you think that ever materialized?
No.
But it didn't matter. I got those 8 wins. I won them in grand style. People loved my routines. I was getting much returns from most of these countries, man. And that was the beauty of it. Opening doors like that.
Yeah.
And came more of not on stage competing, but off stage communicating.
Yeah.
And I was all around the world, man. Jet setting. My career went from competing down and just boom, hit the world stage for the next 13 years.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Then in '92, you go to the Ironman, you win that, and then you go to the Arnold Classic, and you win the Arnold Classic in 1992. You were on a roll then.
That was amazing. We looked at always who's competing. When I saw the competition list, it was like, oh man, there ain't too many high, big value targets out here. My name is right among the tops.
Right.
So we can come in and bring what we just did on the tour and beat these same guys. And hey, and that's what happened. We dialed in at the Ironman, won that.
Thinking of you, that's all I seem to do. When you're not here, I long to hold you near. Baby, this time, together we must stand. Holding you close, taking time to let you know. Tonight's the night we will share. Turn off the lights, come close to me. Tell me I'm all you ever need. Tell me it's not just a dream.
I have a great admiration for a lot of the older bodybuilders in the sport. Albert Beckles, for example, is one of my truest friends and supporter, and me to him likewise. We've been able to, this generation of bodybuilders, and I don't even include myself actually in this generation. I'm 35, and these guys below me are 20s and 19s. But I think the standard which has been set out by these younger guys coming in is keeping us middle-aged guys to do more. And that's where the difference is. These guys are meeting the challenge. And when they have to meet it, then we look at those guys and say, we got to meet it to stay where we are. So it's like a dog race now, with Lee Haney on the top. A lot of guys getting bold, challenging him face to face. So, you got to be prepared to make a challenge like that. If not, you just got to be prepared because the sport is escalating. We're getting sharper and harder all the time, and you can only go so far.
Who will do for you? Vince or Robbie? Prevent the second place trophy is a guy that I've known. I've seen him come a long way. He came out, I think it was from Pennsylvania, and he started representing the Marina Pacifica Hotel. And all of a sudden I turned on Hunter one night, darn, I said, that looks like Joe Bucci. And that was Joe Bucci on Hunter. Matter of fact, Joe's training partner, some little guy, used to make some tackles for the ramp. I think Fred Dreyer. Is Fred out there? There's Fred Dreyer. Big Fred. Boom, baby. Joe, take the second plate trophy to Robbie Robinson. And of course, winning the contest and $10,000 received from John Balick, publisher of Iron Man, and Roger Brogan of Cybergenics. He had a great 91, and he's starting out awful damn good 92, Mr. Vince Taylor.
You know, in the bodybuilding right now, and trying to become one of the best pros in the bodybuilding world, this is a difficult challenge. And I had a career starting off at the Nationals and then the United Champions and Olympia, third place in 1989. This year, fortunately, 1991, I was able to come in third place again with a string of European victories after the tour. So right now, I'm trying to establish myself as one of the primary pros in the world. You know, it's a gift to be able to compete with these guys, but to be one of the best of the guys is also an extra strive for me. So I'm shooting for to be not the best bodybuilder out here, but one of the best.
Congratulations to our Ironman Invitational champion, Mr. Vince Taylor. In 3 short years, the Ironman Pro Invitational has established itself as one of the most highly contested professional shows in the world. And with continued athlete interest and audience support, this competition can only get bigger and better. Thank you for watching the 1992 Ironman Invitational video. We'll see you next year.
And then, of course, the Arnolds was like, you know, is this a possibility? And then when we got there, man, it was I came in good shape. And then got there, posing down. It was just a perfect night. God, it was a perfect night.
Yeah, I was at that show and I saw you win that, and I remember you were really, really happy the day after when we did the seminar. And Lee Haney joined you, right? Wasn't he there at the seminar with you?
Absolutely. See, I always kept that guy around, either by name and or presence.
Yeah.
Keep that company.
Now, did you feel your condition was even better at that Arnold than it was for the 91 Olympia?
Pretty much the same. I was a little bigger, number one, at Arnold's. But I think the condition quality didn't stray too much. So I was kind of comfortable on the look because I always knew I can get better, but that's a thing of process and time. And for that moment and that time, I was good. I was going to be as good as I could get. Because I don't think you can ever duplicate any physique that you bring out prior. I've kept all kind of records on what I've done and did everything, wrote it all down. Yeah. And that happens again.
Yeah.
It happens again. So all these people who are doing that out there, you might as well get writing that stuff down. It ain't going to be the same.
Right. And you did your Terminator routine there too again, right?
That was the beautiful part because I changed the song up.
Yeah.
I Believe I Can Fly. R. Kelly, man. It's always about keeping the audience slightly off balance, and then you bring that Terminator out, and Arnold just went berserk, I remember seeing a replay after stage on TV, and Arnold was commentating the whole show, and he said himself, "This has to be the greatest posing exhibition I've seen in my whole history of bodybuilding."
Wow.
And he said that, I got that on tape. I still got that on tape, but you won't find it online. That one show you won't find.
Yeah, I never saw that.
I can't find my shows. I'm like, is that all about? It's crazy, You do this game for a certain reason, a little recognition, and then you notice you're not getting it. Why can't I find Vince Taylor posing at this show? This is nothing.
Yeah.
Every anything else. And it was like things that make you go, And something wasn't going right inside the organization with Vince Taylor. I'm a nice guy.
Yeah.
I'm not outspoken. I don't look for change. I try to go along with it. I'm not that squeaky wheel looking for that oil. I can't change what you're doing. I change what I'm doing. That's all.
Yeah.
So, but things weren't. I don't think. I think there was a different opinion of me from the inside. I don't know why.
You don't know why?
Don't know it. Don't have a clue. Found out with that next Arnold's though. It became very, very interesting. Because I kind of had a call from, was it 90? I got second to Leverone. And that was a story for you because I knew that Kevin from the following, I had won the year before Flex had won. The Flex wasn't returning. So I'm thinking, I got this. Then I heard Leverone had popped a pectoral muscle. I know I got this. How you going to beat me with a blown gasket? That's what I was always saying.
Right.
A couple months before the show, I was guest posing in South Carolina, I believe it was. And one of the promoters had a problem with me not sitting at this table. Can't think of the guy's name right now. Florida, too. I can't think of his name. God, I can't. But I'm like, I'm in the event. You walk into the door. He has monitors over here behind the door. I'm not going to sit right beside these monitors blasting in my ear. I'm just going to sit adjacent, right across from him, at a table that's free. So I had the guy put a table over there, people walking through on both sides. And instead of coming to me and sitting at the waiter stand, he said that I refused to sit there. So Jim Mannion, I love Jim, he came up to me and said, Vince, something wrong? I said, no, Jimmy, what's going on? Promoted all twisted that you won't sit at the booth. I said, Jimmy, I'm sitting right there. It would be like you turning around and touching that monitor behind me and you. I'm just not sitting with you. And he was like, I said, no, all I had to do was ask me. I was just saying it was so loud over there. I said, no, Vince. I said, okay, it's cool. So we left it at that. Shortly after that, I got a call from IFBB. Lynn Conkright was calling me about exhibitions or something. And I had made it a point as a business aspect of what I do to make sure that every exhibition I've ever done, I would get the promoter to sign off and say what type of job I did. If I disappointed that crowd or if I disappointed my responsibility of being there, I owe you one. And I'll come back and pose for you for free. Okay. That's where I put my thing down. And I never had a complaint at any exhibition. When I did that Terminator routine, man, I had 12 opportunities or obligations under my contract to fulfill, and mine was soaked up right away. I was done within a month. People wanted me all around the world. So speed that bad boy up. I'm sitting at my breakfast table. It's about a month or so before the Arnold Classic, the second one, and I got a call from Joe. Now, mind you, I don't go to California. I have been out to that office. I don't think I've ever been to that office. Didn't like to go out there to do the photo shoots, but I went and did them anyway. I did all the thing I was supposed to do. Joe called me that morning, and all I heard was, Vince Taylor, this is Joe Waiter. I'm like, wow. And my wife, be quiet, everything. My little son sitting at the table, eating breakfast. That's how early it was. I said, Joe, hi, how you doing? The first thing he said was, Vince, what am I paying you for? I said, okay. I said, what do you mean, Joe? You won't compete. You won't do your exhibitions. You won't do your photo shoots. He went down a list. So, Joe, do you know who you're talking to? This is Vince Taylor. I just did the Arnolds last year. I've just turned on my Terminator routine. I'm around the world. My exhibitions are done. I did a photo shoot at your home 2 weeks ago with Benazita and Berto Fox. So what are you talking about? He was going on, I don't know. Somebody said, Joe, somebody's telling you the wrong crap. If you like, I will send to you a stack of letters that I get signed after every exhibition I do.
Right.
Let you know where I've done and how I did. I don't understand. I said, Joe, I don't know what that's all about. So he hung up the phone. About a day later, Wayne D'Amelio calls me. He said, Vince, what's going on? I said, Wayne, how you doing, man? He said, Joe called me, man. He said, yeah, I heard, he's kind of upset. You won't do your photo shoots. What photo shoots is that? And I told Wayne, I'm done. You should know that. He said, no, they want you to fly out to LA and do a photo shoot. I said, the Arnold's is 13 days away. I'm not flying out to LA and do nothing to upset my preparation.
Right.
Vince, you suppose? I said, why don't we just do what we always do? We shoot photos after it's back to stage when it's over. But Vince, Joe loves his photos. I said, I get it, but I got to get my contract right because I want more money this time. You see, I got my contract with him. I won last year, or a year before. I want to get this thing. Well, you got to sign your contract. I said, I'm not signing no contract. I'm going to win, and then I'll sign the contract. I'm going to ask for more money. That's my plan. He said, well, I don't know, Vince. I wouldn't do that if I was you. I said, why not? And he said to me, he said, you know, if the show is close, understand this, if the show is close and they got to go here or there and it's down to 1 or 2 points, the judges will easily go to the guy on contract. So if you're not on contract, man, so I asked myself and him, I said, well, how do the judges know I'm on contract anyway? What's that got to do with anything?
Right.
Well, I'm just telling you, Vince, it's not a good move. I think you should think. I said, nah, I'll tell you what, I'll take my bets, my hedges on this one because I plan on winning this thing and I'll see what happens. Okay, Vince. And that's the last conversation we had. Next, so we're at the Arnold's. We come out. I don't know if you were there or not. I thought I looked damn good.
Now ready to go to work in the free pose is one of the oldest competitors and one of the best, the man they call Vince the Prince, Vince Taylor of Pembroke Pines, Florida, 37 years old.
Vince Taylor is obviously the crowd's favorite. He has been here several times before. He's a terrific competitor and he's known to have really the most perfect body. You can't really find weak points there, so he has a good chance of winning this competition.
He is a very skilled poser. He has that Terminator look on his face, huh?
That's right.
He'll be back.
Wise choice.
Vince is on top of his game right now, too. He's coming off a recent win in the Mr. Ironman.
Momentum here is everything. It's extremely important to win one championship, win the next, and go on like that. So it's here. This is really, it can show you how the audience feedback has an effect on you, and it brings more energy into your posing routine. And then the more energy you bring into your posing, the more reaction you get from the audience. And that again plays a very important part on the judges right now, because they feel, wait a minute, obviously the audience likes them as much as we do, and it will have an effect on the points. It really plays the crowd well.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People were like, man, Vince looks fantastic. This is 2 in a row. You're going to win this thing tonight. And I'm backstage going like, man, it ain't over until the fat lady sings.
Right.
So I'm cool with this. Now, the year before, or 2 years before, I won the first one at the Ironman. I can't think of this kid's name. He used to expedite backstage with it all the time. His father was a judge or whatever, black guy. I ain't saying no names. But he would come up to all the winners. Hey, champ, how you doing? He'd be like, what? What's up? He knows. He got the word. Right?
Yeah.
We saw him the angel. So we cool. So he came up to me in LA, same thing. Came up to me at the Arnold's when I won it, same thing. Okay? So we come back to the last LA show, same thing. Now, at the Arnold's, after the prejudging, we go back to the hotel. And as I'm leaving the prejudging, I got everybody around me shaking my hand. Vince, you got this, man. This is perfect. I'm like, man, don't jinx me, man. I seen, hey,
Yeah.
gonna see what happens like that. I left it that way. We got back to the hotel, and the damnedest thing happened, man. My phone never rang once. I'm thinking, this is not normal. I'm going to win this show. If I go back a year ago, my phone was blowing up off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
My phone wasn't ringing at all. So my buddy was down from Carolina, and we were going to the sauna, which is something I always did between prejudging and night show. So we walked out to the sauna, and I ran into 4 judges coming down the hallway. And they looked at me, and the first thing I says, looks like it's 2 in a row, baby. I said, I hear you, like that. But it ain't over until the fat lady sings. Kept on walking. We get back. We get ready to leave to the venue. I'm on the bus out front. Nobody's on there but one competitor. So the angel, he comes in, looks down the bus. He ain't saying nothing. Vince, did you see so-and-so? I said, nah, man. I'm waiting for the...
Yeah.
He ain't say anything. Got back off. I looked at my wife, and she's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
We went to the event. I'm sitting there in the... I'll go back to the workout room all the time. Get back there, sit around, start warming up much earlier than anybody else. I'm back there by myself. He comes in the far door back there and screams across the whole fence, did you see so-and-so? I said, nah, man, ain't nobody here but me. Oh, okay. He didn't say nothing again.
Right.
This stinks. This really stinks. So I'm standing there. We get in line to go on stage. He comes up behind me, walks in front of the line. He's looking. And he comes to me and says, "Man, it sucks. The politics. They got you in second place." I'm like, "Oh, okay." He said, "Man, you got to pose tonight, man. You got to pose." I'm going, "Don't worry about that."
Yeah.
That. So we're back there warming up. Leverone is lying on the floor, and he's been like that the whole day. Because I think Kevin knew in his heart he was getting dusted. He wasn't part of the whole activities at all. He's just laying on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you a scenario. Backstage behind that curtain, they go to wind that curtain up. It's about a 4-foot square space back there, which is kind of covered up by a screen, by a curtain.
Right.
And about 10 feet is the exit to go on stage. Kevin is laying right there in front of this curtain. I happen to be behind the curtain, standing behind the curtain looking. And I'm watching Kevin just lay there. He's laying there. People walking around. He's stepping around. And he's just laying on his back. So I look down, and here comes Wayne Miller. Pops around the corner. And I can't remember the guy with Wayne. Shadows Kevin leans down on his chest, does this to him on the chest, and Kevin's eyes pop wide open. Like, I'm looking and going like, oh, no. I'm tough to notice that he won. Kevin rolls up like the second coming. I'm like, wow. Okay.
When he took part in the Mr. Olympia competition last year, no bodybuilder had ever come back from such a severe injury to compete at this world-class level.
Look at his deltoid muscles and his arm muscles from the back. See, the trick here is to show to the judges within a short period of time that you have your back developed as well as your front, regardless if you talk about the back development or the arm development, the deltoids. It has to look impressive from the front and from the back. You always try to turn around and show to the judges, kind of saying to them, look, the back is perfect. Look now, I turn to the front is perfect.
That after I ripped my pad, everyone dogged me out, said I was done. Do I look like I'm done? Come on, man, fuck that. You got to be rough
So an impressive free pose session for Kevin Levrone. Looks like he got
Very
right
good. Look at the deltoids. Perfect.
To all my fans and everyone who believe in me.
I would put him in the top 3. I mean, maybe it's very early to say that, but I tell you, that was very impressive, his routine and his body. Here you can see that how well his back is developed, how defined it is, how well the center back is developed, and the outside of the back, the V shape, the deltoids, the trapezius muscles. Also, his arms are very well developed from behind. So all that is very important to score high points.
That completes the free pose portion of the competition. The pose down round will follow shortly.
So I'm standing behind this curtain, and they're standing in front of me, and then somebody says, "Where's Vince Taylor?" Arnold wants Vince to have that trophy. Now, remind you, the first most muscular trophy presentation at the Arnold's was given to me. When they put that thing to the athletes meeting, we first saw it. They unveiled it. They were talking about it, what it represents. The Arnold's going to have given it to that one particular most muscular guy. Right. I got Nasser El Somebody sitting beside me, and Paul Dillett and Fuchs and everybody. I'm like, I ain't never get no trophy like that. Not with these ass monsters I'm sitting with. And I just laughed it off.
Right.
Speak forward. Arnold wanted me to have that trophy. And that's what I was the one presented that, winning that muscularity round, which I did not win. I didn't see it on the scorecards. I didn't win it. I got that trophy though. Well, figure, right? And we went out there and we posed down, man. I finished posing. That place went berserk. And the guy came backstage. The guy said, "Man, Vince," screaming out, "You did it, man. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was the nail in the coffin." I said, I don't know, man. Ain't over to the fat lady singing. I walked. I said, "But I think she just sang." Like that. So we just started laughing. I was feeling pretty good. So we went out. They called us all out. We lined up. And I knew what I saw. But deep inside, I was hoping Don't let it be that.
Veterans Memorial Auditorium and set for the pose down. A very important phase of this competition. It's the last chance to impress the judges.
Well, this is, as you said, the most important phase of the competition, because that's the time where the several bodybuilders that are very close right now, that are maybe 1 point apart or that are maybe even, and this is the time now where you can really separate yourself and win, or if you make mistakes, that's where you can lose your battle. So you can see here that all the guys are kind of jumping next to each other and trying to show to the judges that their arm development, their deltoid development is better than the next guy next to him, and so that is what's going on. So it's a very important and very intense phase of the whole pose down right now.
The 6 finalists are Andreas Munzer, Aaron Baker, Chris Cormier, Vince Taylor, Porter Cottrell, and Kevin LeBron.
So the psychology is very important here. Show the sportsmanship like right now, to let the judges know he's not a good guy, and in case there's any question about a point, you're trying to use everything at this point here.
And that concludes the actual posing, and now it's in the hands of the judges. We asked 2 of the favorites what it would mean to win the Arnold Classic.
Oh, this is the start of a new career. This is the elevation of bodybuilding career for me. If I win this for 94, it's all over. 94 until 96, till I'm ready to stop.
So when Lonnie Teeper got there, who's it going to be? Kevin Leverone or Vince Taylor? If you ever watched that replay again, you'll see me stand there waiting. And as soon as he said Kevin Leverone, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Because I was putting to the end that it would go that way.
Been a professional for just 3 years, and now we come to the final 2.
And Kevin, who do you vote for?
Kevin LeBron and Vince Taylor.
The second place winner is Vince Taylor.
37-year-old Vince Taylor, one of the popular figures in bodybuilding, is the second place finisher. And with that finish comes a check for $45,000. And that means that Kevin LeBron from Glen Burnie, Maryland, is the new champion of the Arnold Schwarzenegger Classic.
Yeah. And then after it was all over, Kevin got the nod. My wife wanted to see the scorecard. Wayne finally came up with the scorecard. She went through the numbers because she's a numbers girl. She's going up and down those numbers. She said, mathematically, this cannot even happen. The number ratio cannot even be correct. You lost by half a point. And then it just came right back to me. It's like, what did that man say to me when he told me I needed to do them photo shoots? Because if it was close like that and there's a point or two and they're going to go to the guy on contract, and if you're not on contract, Vince, which I wasn't, easily go and booyah. Wow. That was my experience there. I was ticked because I won that show. Yeah. That was one of the things I thought but that's how they do me, man. That's the game.
Let's go back to the 92 Olympia, Vince. We skipped that one. That was the one that Dorian won his first one. It was held in Helsinki, Finland. And you had to think that it was going to be between you and Dorian because you guys were second and third the year before. So tell us about what happened with that. I know you had that accident on the bus. Yeah.
That was hurricane season time here. We just went through that hurricane and trying to get things adjusted. Training was thrown off slightly, but it wasn't going to be thrown off enough that it was going to be interfering with what I was doing. The package I was bringing was the package I could only bring. But we got to Helsinki. We traveled over there, man. We got off the plane, got on the, got our luggage and stuff, got on the bus, and was headed to the hotel. And as soon as we got there, I reached up into the compartment and pulled the bags down. And the strap from my shoulder bag flipped down and just smacked me straight in the eye, which scratched my surface of my elbow. And boy, that was a painful thing. It hit me like somebody hit me with a ton of bricks. And we went to the hospital, and the doctor was trying to tell me, wasn't much he could do. But first, I must have sat there in that chair from the time we arrived for about 5 hours. And this thing was painful, like you couldn't blink because the eyelid would cover the area that was scratched. And so we called the doctor first. That's what we did. He came we got there at 4. He must have came about 10, 11 at night. And for that whole time, I was sitting in the chair holding my eye open like that because it was killing me. Wow. And he gave me some kind of Vaseline stuff to put in my eye. And whatever it was. Didn't work. Felt like an eye full of goo. And he left, and I'm trying to lay down, sit down. Couldn't lay down, sit back in that chair again the whole night. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, it was the worst thing in the world because I put more goop in my eye. It wasn't taking the pain away.
Yeah.
And the eye batted. It was just like, bam, stabbing you in the eye. So we trying to get ready for the couple of days, get ready for the main event.
Yeah.
We're there early. So I'm sitting there, couldn't eat, couldn't do anything, couldn't train. So then my wife went out and she found a doctor, and he came over and he gave me some drops. And it's kind of Novocaine drops. He said you can only use these 3 times. Just put them in. And mind you, from the time that this thing happened, 24, 36 hours later, I'm like a basket case.
Yeah.
He gave me these drops, and it just cooled that sensation away. I was like, oh my God, I can finally get some relief from this thing. And he said it's going to last for an hour. And let me tell you, that he was not joking. That shit lasts for 59 minutes, okay?
Wow.
59 minutes is a few seconds. Here comes that pain again, right? And it caught me because I had gone out to get to the gym. I said, we got to do something. We got to start trying to, get ready for the Saturday. Man, I put them drops in, and we went up to the corner, got to that little gym. I got on that treadmill and started just riding a little bit, and man, that must have been 59 seconds going by very quickly, because boom, it hit me when I was on that bike, and I fell off that bike. Going, oh my God!
Wow.
Now I got them drops again. I put them back in, stopped it for a minute. And the wife is telling me you can't use them anymore. You really? I'm gonna use them until it's gone. And so I did that about 3 times, and then later on that evening, again about 9 o'clock, it came back. So now I'm out, no more. Called the doctor. He's telling me he can't give me anything else. Came back, give me some more of that goop again. So now it's Friday. It's time to get on stage. Pre-judging time. So we went over to the gym again. Put that goop in my eye. So on the way back, we stopped at the pharmacy. Because I was going to use my glasses so I could just put. Because listen, I'm leaving the doctor's office. I got this big white patch on my eye. This big old white tape. I come back to the lobby. And Jimmy's like, "What is wrong with you?" I said, well, I've been sitting in this room for 2 days and nobody checked on you, but this, I got my eye busted up. So now, are you going to be okay? So I guess I can compete. So I'm telling Wayne, I can't go out there with this white thing on my face, nor can I take it off. So can I put the gauze on my eye, trim it around, and then wear my sunglasses? No, Vince, you can't use any props. This ain't no prop. I can't see, So what I wound up doing was coming back from the gym after that little Novocaine drop. We stopped at the pharmacy, got a patch. And as I put the patch on my eye, even the pressure from the patch kind of pushed against my eyelids. And that pushed the eye. It was like, man, that wasn't working. So I padded the patch up to keep it away from the eye. So I had something to cover the eye because I had to keep it closed. I mean, all of a sudden, you walk around with one eye, and you got to go and do the things we had to do. It was a nightmare. So 2.5 days I'm sitting up in the chair, couldn't do anything. I couldn't even prepare. So we went over to the event. Then you had to climb up on these high freaking stairs. I'm like, they really trying to put a stake in my back. But we got through that.
Hey, we're here for a battle. It's going to be war. I got all my Helsinki fans here too. I'm back. Wait till you see me. I was putting my luggage down from the baggage up top, and the strap from one of my bags flipped back and hit me right in the eye. Nothing's working, so I'm really concerned about that. I can only see partially out of one eye, and I can't close the eye because it's like having a rock or a pebble in the eye all the time. It's really painful. I'm here now, and I'm going to be here until we leave, so I just gotta make it work.
I like to try to communicate posing to the audience. It's one of my fortes. I work one tonight, especially for each country that I go to. I like to kind of give them a little bit of Vince Taylor. So when I'm posing like that, it's like look for certain areas that lets the crowd know that they're involved in it. I like to give hand gestures just to wake them up, make them part of the whole night affair.
Uno, two, tres, four. Don't call it a comeback.
Okay, gentlemen, relax. Relax, gentlemen. Here we go. A new Mr. Olympia will be crowned tonight in 6th place, with the award being given out by Hamid Syed El Kindi of Dubai. And he will take a $12,000 check and bring it to Vince Taylor. In 5th place, receiving a check of $15,000. The award being given out by Sammy Cipolla.
And but it was the worst time of my life. People were like, man, that was a great prop for your Terminator. Dude, when I went back to the doctors after the show, the first thing he said to me, he said, listen, where you headed now? I said, well, I got a couple more events to do. He said, you need to go back to America and get your eye attended to. You're going to create an infection. You probably go blind.
Yeah.
That, it was over. We got on the first train going back to Berlin.
Yeah.
Train going back, and it went back smoking too. So when I got back to Berlin, which was a very interesting, I told you before, it was a very interesting trip because I'm on that train coming back from Finland to Berlin and going through all these small towns. It was exactly like that storybook that I had heard in 4th grade or elementary school during lunchtime.
Mm-hmm.
That story about these kids coming back from Berlin on that train, and the guards on the train looking for passports. They thought they had to jump off, and as they were going through every one of the towns, you could see the name of the town light up as the train would go through, and you hear the wheels and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It was so dramatic, and it was so exactly like that story. My wife and I was in the train, the sleeping car. I was on the top bunk by the window, and that's exactly the view I had. You know, watching us come through these little towns, seeing the light up. It was so surreal.
Yeah.
I will never forget that. But that's I had to tell you that because that kind of came right back to me.
Yeah.
But that happened in Helsinki. You know, it was the worst time of my life. Man, I wish that on nobody. And of course, Benaziza went out. You know, the next show.
Yeah. What'd you think about what some of the competitors were saying about you after the show? You know, like, oh, he had a scratch on his eye, and he's making that as an excuse of why he couldn't be in good shape. You know.
Absolutely, and that you can't control. You know, because they're gonna say something. They did not know what I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know what my wife and I was doing. I only took that as that's okay. You know, take your shots.
Yeah.
Because healthy, I'll see you behind back on stage.
Mm-hmm.
For those who was popping off, they got popped on again because I put it right back on them.
Right. So then we go to '93, and you go into the Ironman and the Arnold. And this is the year that Flex comes out, and he's the big new amateur turning into a pro, and he had a lot of hype behind him, and he was pretty amazing that year, wasn't he?
He was fantastic. I saw Flex at the guest posing down in New Orleans. Whew. And I was like, wow. I don't know if he won or he got second in his class or something he was preparing for.
Uh-huh.
But he came back. Man, Flex, when he popped out there, it was amazing.
Yeah.
That was the best physique I ever saw.
Yeah.
Man, you're not going to be winning too many more shows with this guy coming around.
Yeah.
You know? Flex was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I got to give it to the boy Flex, though. He deserved that.
Yeah, I remember in '93, it was him and Paul Dillette were both going into the Arnold, and I remember some of the seasoned pros, like even Mike Ashley, was like, what the hell is this? You know, who are these freaks coming out of nowhere?
Paul was looking dangerous in '93, man. He was so shredded that one show.
Yeah.
That's the show he cramped up on stage, wasn't it?
No, I think that was a couple years later.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's where he looked great, but maybe before. Not so much.
So you get third behind Flex and Lee Labrada.
Yeah. And that was only to show how the competition was growing. That's your wake-up call.
Yeah.
You know, it defined what I was doing It gave me a chance to see, it kept me grounded because once again, I wasn't out to win these shows. I was out to compete, but then being realistic about it. And in reality, you would just check in. Hey, here's somebody you got to beat.
Yeah.
And you. That was the question. Are you out here to beat him, or are you out here to continue doing what you're doing?
Right.
It's like nudge for. I'm out here to continue doing what I'm doing. If I happen to beat you, that's cool.
Yeah.
If not, I ain't gonna die about it.
Well, you did win the San Jose that year.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I put it on him. I don't think did Flex show up. I don't think Flex showed up for that. And he was from that area, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think he showed up there.
No, you beat J.J. Marsh and Akam Albright, Ray McNeil.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And they thought they should have won. It's amazing how people think they should win. It's like, dude, look at your track record. How you gonna beat me tonight if you couldn't beat me before?
Right.
But everybody's getting cheated on. But everybody uses that line. I've used it a few times too.
And you skipped the Olympia that year, huh, Vince?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot. I had some knee problems, I think. Something going on. I didn't do too many Olympias in my career. That's one thing people don't realize.
Yeah.
Did a few. That was it. Right where I started thinking that I was getting ready to develop into a bodybuilder of stature, I started looking, I don't need to do this show. I don't know if I hurt my shoulder or my tricep or was my knee. I believe it was my knee. And I got it scoped, I think it was, and missed it. But it wasn't about that Olympia because, once again, I'm good enough to be there, but you're not going to beat the guy who's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about money. It's one of the money-making shows.
Yeah.
That is, where can you make the money?
Right, right.
So, didn't have a problem with that.
So we talked about '94. You won the Ironman, but then you got second to Lavroni.
Yeah.
Did you think Lavroni was just off that year because of the pec tear?
Of course, of the pec tear. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He couldn't train the way he wanted to. He was making a comeback move, and you just didn't have it. You lost a lot of time training. Now, he's a hell of an athlete. I mean, a hell of a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
When he came out, Leverone, I was like, damn, here comes another one.
Yeah.
These guys are dropping out the woodworks. Some cannonball shoulders and, really good bodies,
Yeah.
But if there is a flaw in the design, hey, you just got bad luck like everybody else.
Right.
So with that physique, with that sunken chest, you done. Just from the optics, you can't. Your symmetry's gone now.
Right.
Man, the rest is history.
Yeah. So then we go to '95, and you go to the Night of the Champions, and you get second to another masked guy, Nasser El Somebody, who really stepped up his game that year, and that was the year he really came in big.
Yeah, because I was beating Nasser in Germany all the time.
Yeah.
Prior to that, because Nasser was big, but he wasn't that big. Okay, and he came back, man. He was monstrous looking.
Yeah.
I was like, good Lord, So again, you got to step aside and let these guys have their due.
Right.
It wasn't nothing I was concerned about with Nasser because Nasser had turned it up.
Yeah.
Prior to he wasn't there. It was almost like Ronnie.
Right.
He wasn't there. But when Pop goes the weasel, when it pops. Now, Nasser looked really good. He started running. After that, he was on his run.
Yeah.
So you knew you had to take second place to him again, and somebody else is just one step ahead of you.
Right.
Because I refuse to think that I could adjust my physique to catch these guys that are obviously now being awarded, not because of their quality of the physique, but now they have that tremendous size. And Vince Taylor at 280 wasn't going to happen.
Right. Right.
Stay in my lane.
Yeah. Well, you did go to the Olympia that year, and you looked great. Now, you got fifth place that year. That was '95. How old were you that year, Vince?
Oh, I got to do the math. I don't have my little calculator in front of me right now. Well, look, we well up there now. we touch it. We getting close to 40. So
yeah.
And I thought that was good because that's that year I tried to put on some size anyway.
Right.
I came back on stage bigger than I was probably ever before. But at the same time, once again, you can put that size on, but it has to, like I said, is it soup yet? You stir it until it gets soup. And it wasn't soup yet.
Mm-hmm.
It was transformation I made, but it got my size up, but it wasn't the quality. but I did manage to get fifth. But that was or sixth, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I thought that year NASA should have beat Dorian.
Yeah.
We're standing on stage. I'm arguing with NASA because he's a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling NASA, jump on him. Get on him right now. You know, you're over here all scared. I'm like, dude, don't you want this? You got him.
Yeah.
He would go on stage and he just wither. He wouldn't go after it. You know, he wouldn't hit his shots, and he came back in the lineup, and I was in his ear because he's a friend. I was like, man, come on, don't throw this away.
Yeah.
You got him. But he just didn't want to show. He didn't have the attitude, man. He didn't show the confidence. God, that was sad. Pissed me off too.
And then you did really well at the Grand Prix shows again. You got you won the England, France, and Ukraine, and you also won the Niagara Falls that year too.
That's it, because they counted me out again. You see, they see what I do when they start thinking, well, he's not going to do this. I adjusted, got serious again, and got my act together, and just started knocking it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I was just trying to get the best out of the physique now, because now that it had gotten the size that I needed, now that I had to bring it down, chisel it up, presenting a better package, and got rewarded for it. So I was pleased with those runs.
Yeah, you beat Levroni in one of them.
Oh yeah, in England, tore his behind up.
Yeah, in England, right?
Man, all these shows I was doing, standing ovations everywhere behind the posing, because that was my highlight. I'm gonna do the Grand Prix so I can make me some money.
Mm-hmm.
It got challenging when I got better competition, but I'm going to do the Grand Prix because I'm going to offer posing exhibitions afterwards. So I'm putting my schedule together. That was one of my main things for doing all these shows, make money when I'm not in season. But we had a great run there. I tore Kevin up, went to these other shows and just kind of lived it. You know, I was feeling really good. But now I'm getting older. Now I'm thinking, you know, you're not going to be able to outrun these guys too much longer.
Yeah.
These guys will be back in shape when they're doing what they're doing. You got Flex, you got Leverone, NASA now. So now you're going to be fading back. So now it's time putting your eyesight toward those masters.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was looking at.
So they came up with that in '96. Well, actually, they started a little earlier when Louis and Robbie was going in it. But in '96, I think it was held with the Mr. Olympia, right, in Chicago? Yeah.
Absolutely. Nightmare. You know, because that was me saying, again, conversation with Wayne D'Amelio.
Uh-huh.
I'm turning 40 now, you know, and I want to be able to do the Masters and the Open, Mr. Olympia. And wasn't a problem with that. Out of the blue, he calls me and tells me, you can't do it. I'm like, excuse me? No, you can't do it. I said, why not? He said, because people, how do you put it? Canada doesn't want to see the same guy twice on stage in one night.
Canada?
Canada. I said, okay. So what you're telling me is that Sonny Schmidt could compete both. Louis can compete both, or Robbie can compete both. But now that I'm 40, I can't. Yeah, you got to choose. You have to choose. I'm like, well, I'll be okay. Fine, I'll just do the Masters. That's when I stopped doing the Open Olympia.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you sure you want to do that, Vince? I said, well, yeah, because I feel that I'll take my little talent. I'm getting older, you know, and I think if they got this new division up, my goal is to win 8. No, I want 9 Sandals because Lee got 8. Okay, and I want to match Lee plus 1. So I want to be Masters Mr. Olympia, and I want to win this thing for 10 years. So I said, now you do the math. I'm top 5 in the world right now at 40. The rest of these guys are so much younger than me. By the time they move up to be 40, I'll be 50. And I've won 10 of these. So that's my goal. I'm going for the Masters. And that caused a ruckus.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Man, number one, after 94 Arnold's, I got no coverage in the magazines no more. Okay, that's number one. So then when they told me I couldn't do both events, I also won the only Arnold Invitational Masters event.
Right.
That show the year before, I told Arnold in the meeting at the athletes, I said, listen, if you were to do the Masters, Arnold, and I remember the judges in there, some of them, they were laughing. Oh, Vince, if you did a Masters, I could compete. Arnold walks in. I asked Arnold, I said, Arnold, what do you think about having a Masters? That's a fantastic idea, Vince. Let's do it. The whole room shut up. Okay, it was a joke 5 minutes ago. The whole room shut up. I said, Arnold, can I compete in the Masters and the Open if you do it? Absolutely, Vince. Love to have you. I looked at Wayne now. But now you tell me I can't do both?
Right.
He's telling me I can. I took 3rd in that show in the Open and won the Masters that night.
Yeah.
So that was the role of things. But did the coverage come out? Okay.
Wow.
So after that 94, I did not get a contract from Weider anymore. Okay. Did not get a contract. Cybergenics picked me up, a new version of Cybergenics. I made double the money from those people that I got from Weider, so they couldn't push me out. I felt they were trying to just, hey, they control you. If they're not paying you any money from the contract side, you can't make it.
Yeah.
Okay. So they came in and offered me double the money I was making. So that was great. So people were getting pissed when they heard Vince was making $100,000. So I did that for that year, and then I ran into Pinnacle, matched that, and I stuck with those guys for 6 years. So that portion was great. I was surviving, making the money, and still doing my masters and winning. But what was happening? You're winning the masters. There's no coverage. You're not getting any articles in the magazines. I mean, they really just got rid of me. It's like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Why? But you can't stop me from winning.
Right. So how many years did you win the Masters Olympia, Vince?
5 of them.
5 of them. Okay.
5 in a row.
Wow.
And the story behind that is when I won the first one, which was so depressing as well. This very one, this is the first one I won back here. The other 4 are downstairs on my mantle. I won that one, and that was my whole goal because I told everybody, I'm here to win my Eugene Sandals for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So at that event, I knew I was going to win. I didn't train for the Masters. I felt they could not beat me. These are Masters. I know the names and the credits. I'm top 5 in the world.
Right.
How you beat me? I don't even have to train for you guys, which I did. I trained a little bit, died a little bit. I came and I won.
Yeah.
Wasn't nothing against them, but I just knew I didn't have that much. So my thing was win $10. On the stage, very first one. I walk on the booth. Wayne's up there, and he's talking. And I look behind Wayne. I see these 2 Sandals in the box, and I know I won that night. So this is presentation night. So we go on stage, and they're calling it out. If you ever get a chance to watch the video, he's calling it out. Vince Taylor, the winner, blah, blah, blah. He wins the gold medallion, Joe Weider's gold medallion, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Joe comes out with the medal, and I'm standing there. Here comes Wayne, and shaking my hand and raising my hand up and everything. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm waiting. Where's my Eugene? Where is the Sandow?
Yeah.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you very much. What? So we walk on off stage. I walk to the podium with Wayne. I said, what's up? He said, oh, we forgot the trophy. It's in my room. You can come get it after the show. I'm like, what? And I walked by and saw both of them sitting in the box behind him. Man, that was the start of things to come. I was, wow. So the second year, they did it again. I brought my trophy because my wife went and got the trophy. Okay, we went out to things. She came back in there and got the trophy. But they didn't want to present it to me on stage.
Why is that?
I have no idea. Not only that time, the second time we won, I got it. And for backup, I brought my own. I said, you ain't going to do it to me this time. I'm going to win, but you ain't going to do it to me this time.
Right.
But I got it on stage, and I'm happy, Jay. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Then they dropped it. They dropped the Masters Olympia.
Right.
And Tana picks it up. So she calls me. She says, Vince, would you do the show? Would you do the show? I said, yes, I will. On one condition. You have my Sandow. I swear we'll have it, Vince. I swear. It's okay, then I'll do the show. So she marketed the show. I went down there and I won that show. Stood on that stage, waiting for that Sandow. Wayne comes out to me. Brings me out that little white trophy back there. Silver one. Hands it to me. We forgot the trophy, Vince. We'll send it to you in the mail.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Okay. Took my little happy butt off stage. Told my wife. And he's like, are you serious? Yeah. They forgot to bring it. You're going to have the Masters Mr. Olympia and you're not going to bother bringing the trophy? Okay, cool. Heavyweight championship fight. They never bring the belt to the fight.
Right.
Who does that? Okay, you did it to me on the first Olympia. The second one I brought my own, but you gave me that. This one, you're going to send it to me in my mail. The very next year, win the show. It's over. Come down, shake my hand, look me in the face. We forgot it, Vince. We'll send it to you. UPS. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why is this happening? Why
Right.
was this happening?
Right.
Not covering the event on magazines. The fourth one, you're telling me that you got this guy who's going to beat me. That was Patrick Nichols. Not Nichols. Some guy in New York. I can't think of his name right now. I heard it through the grapevine. I had one of my friends call me, bodybuilder, said, Vince, man, you better be careful, man. They're talking to this guy. What's his name? From New York. I think he had some kind of medical condition. coma or something like that later. He never got a chance to compete afterwards. But he was turning 40, so they say. And I saw it in the magazine. Which one was that? From Canada, Muscle Mag. They had an article on him. They were talking about him doing this, doing that. Page 31, he was 38 years old. Page 41, he was 40 years old. Like, which is it? Right. And we ain't talking about this guy was good and he's going to be at the Masters. He had his quote that he was going to show me how a Masters champion is going to look. Whatever. I kept saying, look, bring your Twinkies because it's going to be a long day. That's all I can tell you. So they pushed that story the whole year, right? Got to the event, the guy never shows up. Couldn't find his birth certificate. So I win the show. Then they come up with this Youngblood guy.
Yeah, Don Youngblood.
That was number 5. Now I'm down there in Atlanta, in Virginia, right? I'm down there waiting for this thing. I'm walking into the room like I always do. There's no competition here for me. I'm training for this a little bit anyhow. So I come in and business as usual. I'm out here. Halftime, I mean, not halftime, but after the prejudging, I get a call from one of my friends saying, man, Vince, this is close. I said, close what? Close with who? They got you close with that guy, Youngblood guy. I said, the guy with no legs and the fat, no abs? Yeah, man. I said, get out of here. And sure enough, I was losing.
Wow.
I was losing. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So after the show, I went over there. Me and Robbie was on stage. We were talking. And he said, man, you don't let him go with that. Kick that ass like that. Mm-hmm. So we're doing our thing. And I beat him by 1 point.
You beat him by 1 point.
I beat this guy by 1 point. This old man I see what you're doing. Year before, you want to take me out with this guy who never showed up. Now you're trying to take me out with this guy because you're tired of me winning.
Right.
I said 10 years, this is 5 coming up, so you don't want me to win this thing. This my 5th one's next year.
Right.
All right, so the following year, on my 6th win, back to the same thing, same guy. We doing this thing, man, and I'm beating these clowns like a baseball bat, okay? And all of a sudden, I hear the same thing. I had a really good friend of mine. She came to my room. She said, Vince, you got to pose tonight because if you don't, it's going to stink from here back to Texas. I said, what are you talking about? She said, they got you in 2nd. To who? Deja vu. That same guy last year. I was like, oh, my God. They couldn't try it again. They couldn't do it this time. We played that thing out to the T. I go over to the nice show. My brother's there. And luckily, he was outside in his car playing some music. He had some old songs we used to like to listen to. It's raining outside. So I come over and they tell me my cassette won't work. It worked all day. Why doesn't it work now?
Right.
Everybody else's cassette's working, but mine won't play. I said, get out of I'm in line. I'm lining up. I'm number 4 to pose. They come tell me your cassette won't play. I said, get out of here. So I get out of line. I go outside. I asked my brother. He said he had a set, Cheryl Lynn, and This World Was Mine.
Yeah.
The same one that I told you about John opposed to.
Yeah.
So he had that. That's a cassette. That's not a made doable, right?
Right.
He gave me the cassette. I ran inside. I'm outside practicing some, trying to think of what I did in '89.
Right.
Okay? So I come on stage. Oh, get ready to come on stage. I give him my cassette. I come out. I'm standing there. The cassette won't work. I said, there's nothing wrong with the cassette. My brother's like, track 2. You hear him screaming in the back. Put on track 2. It won't play. I'm like, oh my gosh. Leave it alone, right? I said, well, just play anything. So they put something on, and I busted a couple of notes on something, and it came out pretty decent. I'm not going to say it was the greatest, but it was okay.
Right.
Long story short, I lost that show by 1 point. Lost the posing round. That's what took me out of my last match.
Lost the posing round.
Wow. Vince Taylor loses the posing round.
Unbelievable.
The only thing I can do, and I said after that, I'm done.
Yeah.
I stopped competing. I said, I can't beat City Hall, man. When they come at you with that pen and pencil.
Oh, man.
So I was done.
Wow. Now, didn't you do the Olympia or another, let me see. Yeah, you did the Olympia in 06, right? You got 11th?
Yeah, that was a shocker. That was a comeback.
Yeah.
That's 4 years later, man. I shut the engines off, and that was done.
Yeah.
I started thinking, man, I just turned 50. I said,
wow.
Well, try this again. I said, because you didn't go out the way you wanted to. You went out because they pissed you off.
Right.
But there's maybe a little bit left. So I went to Australia. I went as far away as I could to compete again, just to see if I still had it, if I still remembered the rules, the ABCs. And all kind of those stupid things would happen over there from the promoter, Graham, or whatever his name was.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got on stage, there was no doubt in my mind. I won that show. And people were tripping. Got third. It was like, oh, man, some things never change. But the buzz from that hit PW was Pro Muscle Bodybuilding.
Yeah, Pro Bodybuilding.
And Ciccarello and everybody was talking about that. Did you see Vince Taylor? This guy is top 5 in Olympia right now. That was the buzz.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, my stuff was coming around like that. So I was happy with that. And then made a mistake. Started talking to Wayne DeMillia. Okay? He's doing this PDI new federation.
Right.
I said, I think I am going to wrap up my bodybuilding career after this. And I'll probably go and join another federation, maybe NABA, whatever he's doing. Because business-wise, it makes sense. I can take this physique over there and make money and be on the ground floor of a new organization and kind of like make some money, be involved. Right here, my career is over. I'm ready to move on. That's it. And that's what I was thinking. So I told Wayne tentatively that when I finish this year of competing, I will probably come over and do the PDI. You sure, Vince? Can I send you a contract? You can send it. I'm not going to sign anything yet, but I'm telling you now, I'm definitely going to come over. So he wanted to promote the PDI Night of the Champions again. And when my name came up about joining the PDI after I finished bodybuilding, man, Rafael Santonio canceled my exhibitions in Europe just by word of the fact he heard I was going to be not doing the IFBB anymore next year.
Right.
Wayne was over here getting flack about me saying I was going to do this, and Lee called me about not going over. What am I doing? Think about this move. I'm like, how all of a sudden I become popular?
Yeah.
The thing I said was next year I'm probably going to do that organization. I'm finished with the IFBB. So I said, but that's something I said I was going to do. So I get to the Olympia. I'm looking good. I mean, let me tell you, man. I'll tell you right now. People were in my locker room taking pictures like, did you see Vince Taylor? That's top 5 material. I'm not going to tell you he's going to win, but that boy's top 5 for sure.
You're 50 years old.
50 years old. And I had the buzz going so strong back there. That was beautiful, right? And I'm sitting there, and then we got on that lineup. We came out, lined up. I'm standing beside Sean. I'll never forget it. And they went around the lineup. They were calling out everybody. Comparison. And they went through the tops. Then they went through some more. Then they start going back down the lineup. So you know, like, wait a minute. You didn't even call me out. So Sean was like, man, hang in there, kid. Hang in there. So, oh, man, they're going to F me today. Wow. So they gave me 11th. We was at the Mandalay taking some pictures. And I recall, what's his name? Julia Bergman's husband, friend, whatever. Judges, they came over and said, Vince, I'm not trying to blow smoke up your behind, but who did you piss off? We had you for 5th. We had you in 5th. I'm not saying you should have won. Don't get me wrong. You didn't have that in you. But you had top 5 in you. And why we couldn't get a call out? I said, so I had the guy who ran Pinnacle standing there, Steve Stern. He came over and said, what's going on? I said, hey, listen to him. He said, I don't know what the problem is. I don't know who he pissed off. But he couldn't. We had him tagged for 5th. I don't know how he got 11th. So I said, that's how they play, Steve. So we left that alone. Then another friend of mine from Holland, not Holland, Belgium, judge came up to me later. He said, man, we tried to call you out 4 times. And each time they denied our call out for you.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, so I make my comeback. And this is what's happening. I don't get no call outs. I get 11th. Just gave me 11th. You know, so it's like, all right, I'm cool. So what do you want to do now? You want to stay in there for this, or you want to get out? And that's when I just said, you know what? That's not going to change. But I can use this being back in shape and being on the Olympia at 50 for some other reasons. Just use the platform and do that. And then the following year, did some sit-ups, getting ready for the Olympia again. Went to Australia again, qualified again. Knowing I should have beat Dexter, he came over there, soft, and he was worried. I got 3rd again. Ronnie Rockwell was 2nd. Ain't nowhere where Ronnie could touch me. Yeah. I'm like, this it just never stops. So let's go back to the Olympia. And after that, man, I took some time off and got ready to train again. This by Easter. So I was getting ready I was doing some sit-ups, man. I hurt my lower back, got a pinch in my lower back. Done. Killed my career.
Yeah.
That was it. It for me.
Yeah.
But I did go to Olympia that year just to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Looked like garbage.
How old were you that year, Vince?
That's 51.
51? Okay.
Yeah, that's following year, 51.
Well, I got to ask you what you're doing now because you look phenomenal when you were on stage Saturday night. I mean, your arms, you still got the guns, you still got the calves.
I tell you, I'm going to credit all that to this right here. My new training system, Powerball 50 Smart Grips.
Okay.
It's a training system that I designed. It's a lightweight cable resistance workout. I train with a different understanding of moving weights. I'm training with a philosophy of contracting the muscle first. I created some training handles, which I call power balls.
Mm-hmm.
And this actually creates this isolation tool, that allows you to affect muscle contraction and training by training with the ball, the power balls I call them, which is I got one right here. You train between your fingers with them. And the whole principle and the concept in my training manual I've been working on for years. You train a certain way. You deliver curling actions a certain way, which represents you throwing a punch. My whole system and principle is called joint rotation and recoil.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of push it out and you pull it back. So when you're training, but you train on multiple angles, and you're only going to use the power balls, which are 1 or 2, the place between the finger folds, gives you an entirely new grip. And that's what I've become to know, that when I had the injury with my bicep rupture, the doctor told me to do cables. Take the resistance off of that tendon, that joint, do rotation movements. That was way back then. When I tore my tricep tendon, trying to paint on the roof, and got off the roof, and the ladder slipped, and I'm falling, scratching the roof and falling on my butt.
Oh, wow.
Bust tricep. I think that might have been the time I missed the Olympic, one of the Olympics. But I was rehabbing my tricep. I'm in the gym doing my conventional rehab motions, as you call them. Took my cable machine, took the handle off the cable machine, just used the wire like I've done many times. And for some reason, I put my fingers between that stop ball at the end, and I was talking to somebody, and I started doing tricep extensions like that. And as soon as I could feel it isolate the outer head. And wow. So what would happen if I put the ball between the two middle fingers? So I did that same motion right there. You can feel the resistance shift to the rear tricep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what happens with the pinky? When I put it between the pinky finger, the tendon that I ruptured right here gets affected from this pinky finger when you do that motion.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I can actually affect this tendon by doing the finger folds. So I started doing that, and this created a whole new training concept for me, because at the same token, I turn my hand over and I do bicep curls. Exact same thing happens. You start curling with the ball between the first 2 fingers with a loose wrist, and of course that rotation motion, and you curl up. What you're doing is I'm contracting the bicep first, and I pull the resistance through the contraction like that. So that's basically the way you're curling, like this, out at multiple levels. I call it the 12 o'clock position, the 3 and the 6. So I'm pulling down and I'm curling up. It's working the lower portion of the bicep. I curl straight ahead. This motion is working the middle portion of my bicep. I go up top, it works the peak action of the bicep.
Oh, okay.
So you feel the different resistance levels that you're training by putting the ball between the different fingers again. So that became my isolation curl, rotation curl. So from the concept of lightweight resistance, cable machines only, and or exercise bands, you get the opportunity to almost feel that you're dissecting the muscle. Okay.
Yeah.
What I found out was when you grip like this, you create the resistance in your forearm flexors. Every time you lift, the majority of your lift is in the forearms. Any exercise you do is going to start in the forearm power. What happens is the secondary motions of lifting, now you need that weight to pull that resistance to get muscle contraction, because you got to bypass the strength load here. If you take the forearms out of any exercise by opening that palm, now the forearms don't engage. Now you're hitting direct muscle that you're trying to train. Your back. No grip here. You start pulling in the power ball grip. It's like a curling action or scratching action like that, and you pull back. That's all your back engaged now. No intermediate forearm work. So the weight that you're using in my training philosophy goes from normal 25, 30-pound dumbbells to 5, 7, 10 pounds, because the muscle is already contracted. I'm pulling the resistance through the contraction process, and it's instantly you get a different stimulation in any muscle. So
when you grab it, you're putting the ball through your fingers. You're not grabbing it with your hand.
Exactly, finger fold.
Okay.
You keep an open wrist, open palm. In fact, I have my power balls. Let me walk away from the screen one second.
Sure.
Ta-da. This is a version of my power balls right here. In fact, this is the new version. And you hold them like that. That's the power ball grip. And you hold them between the finger folds. There's a single version that you train with it like that. That's my concept version to understand the dynamics and what you're actually doing. And when you want to add more strength, weights to, or resistance, then you use the 2-ball version. So now your grip from now on training is open palm. It's never that. It's never a closed grip, because I'm eliminating forearm flexor activity. It was so interesting that I had taken the same concept to the University of Miami, and I was talking to the sports kinesiology and research, sports medicine research rather. And I showed the professor what I was doing, and he's involved in also contraction, isolation, movements, and all that. And when I told him what I was doing, he volunteered to do a study for it right away. So I just got a completed study on the power balls that's going to be published probably the next month on effectiveness. I trained them with the triceps versus the normal hand grip, training the triceps, flying colors. Flying colors. So now I'm going to go back and do the same thing with the biceps and some more testing purposes, just to show that this is far beyond something to utilize for training. I have to make you think.
Yeah.
You want to know why your muscles are contracting like that, understand what happens when you start doing rotations, pronating and supinating and pronating their arm, how that affects resistance levels in the muscle. And that small knowledge changes everything you do about training. So what I'm finding out is that me training like that, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, 'cause I've been trying to get back to the gym for the last so I just tried about a month ago, 2 days, and I'm done. So now I'm back maybe once a week, but I'm only doing my Powerball training, which is connecting these to the cable machine. I'm doing my entire upper body with these, utilizing some of the weights and dumbbells, just periodically to keep the foundation. But the invention of these Powerballs and the training system I'm doing, lightweight cable resistance, it's affecting muscles to respond much more than heavy weight. So there's something to lightening up that load. Maybe it's my age. Maybe it's my muscles used to now being trained a different way, different resistance, but it's working. So when people ask me, Vince, what are you doing? I train 2, maybe 3 times a week with power balls and cables, and that's it.
Wow.
And you look at that, yeah, that's what's happening. So I'm launching this business hopefully in about 2 more months.
Is there a website, Vince?
I had one up, but I had taken it down because I was making my power balls myself, and then I got orders I couldn't fulfill. So it's like, take the website down until you're ready to get your manufacturing together, which I'm working on now.
Okay.
And hopefully, but online, if you Google Vince Taylor Powerball 50s, there's a lot of information out there already.
Okay.
A lot of information, but not a lot, because I don't want everybody to know the concept.
Yeah.
And I just had a friend of mine I wanted to work with in Germany to actually take care of the distribution in Germany once we got rolling. Well, this clown stole my idea, and he started making something called Easy Balls right now.
Oh, really?
So I'm into what I call, copyright infringement is what I'm looking for right now. So that's today. I'm ready. I'm making that battle happen today.
Yeah.
So, and I don't have everything out there. These clowns came out and did my prototype ball. Okay, this is just my prototype that I'm utilizing. The study and everything came down to my new version ball right here. So, let them run with it. Let them enjoy what they're thinking they're doing. But the new Powerball, man, something to dream about.
Right.
And these things are for every sport. Baseball players, football players, to create the hand grips that they need to strengthen to play the sport that they're in.
Right.
I got different sizes of these to represent you holding a tennis racket. Okay, so I got the world, man.
Wow.
But that's why training access is a full body workout that could be used as a rehab workout or as effective as a world-class athlete workout, because you're doing motions and controlling activities by understanding what you're doing with the biceps or any muscle, utilizing the power balls.
Right.
So that's my baby, man. Vince Taylor Powerball 50 training system.
Right.
That's what I'm doing now.
Okay. Well, I wish you the best of luck with that, Vince. It's working on your physique, man.
I'm telling you, man. Shockingly.
Right. Well, Vince, I want to thank you for joining us at the Bodybuilding Legend Show. You had some really great stories, and you had a great career. And I'm glad we finally got a chance to sit down and talk with you about all your experiences. Definitely one of the best bodybuilders in the history of the sport, I'll say that. And one of the greatest bodybuilders, of course, of the 80s and 90s. So we really enjoyed your stories, Vince.
Awesome.
All right.
I enjoyed it 100%. I had a great run. We sealed off the weekend with the Eagle.
Yeah.
It landed, and hey, this is it, man. This is what it's all about.
Right.
We got there. So thanks. I appreciate it. Hope you can use this stuff, man. It's a good conversation, and anytime, come back.
All right. Thank you, Vince. I appreciate
You got it,
buddy.
baby.
Take care.
Peace.
All right, thank you for watching the Bodybuilding Legend Show. I want to thank Vince Taylor for taking the time to share his stories with us. I really appreciated it. On the next episode of the Bodybuilding Legend Show, we're going to be joined by Roger Walker from Australia. Roger was one of the best bodybuilders in the 1970s, and he was featured pretty prominently in the movie Pumping Iron when he competed in the Mr. Universe contest against Ken Waller. Roger went on to win the Mr. Universe contest in 1976, and then competed in the Mr. Olympia during all the years that Frank Zane won, and he also competed in the very infamous 1980 and 1981 Mr. Olympia, where Arnold Schwarzenegger and Franco Columbu won. So Roger's got some great stories of the old days of bodybuilding. We're going to be joined with Roger Walker on the next edition of the Bodybuilding Legends Show. Hope you can join us then. Take care, everybody.